That was the tuning song there. How's it going, everybody? Hi. Saturday, fall, some nice fall weather here in California. I think fall's my favorite season. As I get older, Brian, I think reflect on years past. Yeah, the summer's getting hot. Summers are getting hot everywhere. But yeah, it's Saturday. We're gonna do a little pentatonic stuff, and what I wanted to talk about with the pentatonic stuff, I picked that little Hendrix Watchtower style jam there to get into it. But the specific thing I was going to talk about in this live stream when it comes to pentatonic exercises is two notes with one pick, two notes with one attack, followed by one note, one attack. So if I'm in the C minor pentatonic, so 8th fret, E string root. So if I just go between the 8 and 10 on the D string, for instance, well, I can get two notes on the D string by hammering on like that. And then pick one time on the 8th fret G string like this. So I did two picks, but I got three notes out of it. But you could also do it like this, where you plant your index finger along that 8th fret D and G. And we're still doing the same thing, but we're going to hammer on that D string with the down pick. And then with the up pick, we're going to hit that G string. I can do it on any part of any scale, but on that C minor pentatonic, I can plant the 8th fret high E. So in between, and it is kind of a classic rock lick where you would hear someone go. So I'm not picking every single note. I'm getting two notes with hammer on. Sometimes you hammer on every note, but you can get into that. And, we're talking about pentatonic exercises. So that is the one I'm talking about right now. I have a whole free course at martymusic.com on pentatonic exercises. It's pretty new, too. Did you edit that one, Brian? Or did I edit that one? I think I edited that one myself. But Brian edited the Hendrix course, you guys. All right, so Brian edited the Hendrix course, and you did a great job. Okay, so C minor pentatonic. I'm just gonna do a little groove in this with the C Hendrix chord, C7 sharp 9. So that exercise, starting on the D and G string. Now I'll just move around the strings. Now on the B and high E. So then the opposite, so many different guitar players play this one lick I'll show you. But it's still C minor pentatonic just because. Cover the 8th fret of the B and high E. So you have the. So I hear let's see, Jimmy Page, Tony Iommi, right off the bat, and Hendrix use this one. So you've got the 11th fret high E, and you're pulling off to the 8th fret high E. Then so that with one strike, you get 2 notes there. Then you pick the B string. A classic one is I think it's similar to the Stairway to Heaven solo at the end, but the go over to that 11th fret high E bend at the end of that little phrase. Now you hear that lick actually a lot in its major pentatonic setting. So I'm just going to change keys now, but we're going to do that same thing. I'm going to do G major. And also, thanks again for supporting Marty Music, watching videos, all that support, subscribing, all that stuff. Right now, Brian, my buddy Brian, is here, and he's checking out your comments and stuff. So he's keeping a good track. If you have any really important questions or comments, you can leave them, and Brian's going to tell me in a second. But I'm going to do the major pentatonic. Yeah, you got one now?
Well, I appreciate the funny ones, too.
Oh.
I like giggling.
Yes.
Marty's listening.
Yeah. Okay, so G major. You would have the G major pentatonic, which is the same thing as the E minor pentatonic. one more thing real quick. I mean, before I open your up to your questions, yeah, I was jamming a little Fleetwood Mac style jam there. But if you play F major to G major and you're really thinking of F major as the root, that's actually called F Lydian. But most of the time we just immediately think of that as G Mixolydian. Scale-wise, note-wise, it's the exact same thing. But something that's really cool that translates F Lydian. So you can practice this over F to G major just to get a feel for it. But what's really, really cool about F Lydian is, or Lydian in general, there's different ways to think about it. The melody is the A minor pentatonic over F major to G major. And so you're getting notes of F Lydian there. So check it out. A minor pentatonic, which you could also call the C major pentatonic. But just check it out. A minor pentatonic over F major to G major. It's also scale-wise, it's not the same key or anything, but Tears for Fears right there. That's another one. And you know what's really interesting is if you were like in a music theory class and you're describing the modes, major scale, like triumphant, uplifting, happy, blah, blah, blah. When you get to Lydian, it's dreamy and airy, and like it's used in science fiction melodies and things like that. But listen to what I said. I said dreamy. And literally that song, Dreams, is in Lydian, and the song is called Dreams. So there's some kind of connection there, I think. And actually, I think even, I could be wrong, I have to go back, but the Allman Brothers song Dreams also, I think, is using elements of Lydian as well. Interesting, now that I think about it. Okay, so your questions are coming in. Brian, what's up?
Well, Alan had a good question.
Hey, Alan.
And he's actually gotten some great answers from other commenters.
And thank you for the feedback, everybody.
Yeah, he wanted to know
When to use major versus minor. What's really fun about like rock guitar, classic rock, and blues, give it up for rock, give it up for blues, give it up for anything that is left to lose, and rock your socks off, woman, shake it, cow. That's Tenacious D right there. What was I talking about? Major and minor. Well, the elevator pitches, if you have a progression that's major, in other words, the first chord's like a major chord, and it has that happier feeling to it, then you would use major scale, major pentatonic. If you're playing something that's very minor, like All Along the Watchtower, you're going to use the minor pentatonic. But in rock and blues and everything that's left to lose, the minor pentatonic works in a lot of major ways. It's not necessarily theoretically right, but when in doubt, minor pent it out. So you can kind of force, like Stevie Ray Vaughan could force the minor pentatonic over any progression, and it sounds amazing. But real simple, like when you hear a progression like Let It Be or something. that's a very major sounding progression as opposed to. What else, Brian? Hit me.
Someone wanted to know how to choose between a hummingbird and a J45.
How to choose between a hummingbird and a J45. Well, if you don't have any acoustic guitar, that would be one factor. In other words, if you're buying your first really nice acoustic, I would go with the J45. It's a little more versatile. The Hummingbird's a beautiful guitar as well. You can't go wrong. But if I'm thinking right, the J45 isn't quite as bassy. Not as much bass in it, but I could be wrong. I don't want to quote anything. I'm not an expert on that, but I think the J45 is just like the classic guitar.
That's the one that you have, right?
Yeah. I have a bunch of acoustics, and I love different acoustics for different reasons, but I feel like the J45s, it's like not too boomy, and it feels great.
So go play them.
But the Hummingbird is an amazing guitar.
Play before you buy.
I don't have a Hummingbird. I haven't played them enough to like know why that would be better than a J45. In fact, anyone that has an opinion on why a Hummingbird, other than the Hummingbird has beautiful, it's a classic guitar. It's got the hummingbirds on the pick guard. It's a little more ornate. J45 is a little more workhorse. But if you guys know specifically, other than looks, specifically why you think a Hummingbird would be a better guitar than a J45, I'm just curious. I don't really have too strong of an opinion. The J45 is great, and it's been so solid. Okay. Anything else there, Brian?
Cameron wants to know if you like Ovations.
Cameron wants to know if I like Ovations. The first time I ever two Ovation memories. The first Ovation memory I've had Ovations too. They're good for stage performance specifically. They're not designed for like sitting on the couch or they slip. Yeah, so not great for that. But for stage performance, especially back in the like 80s, they were like really ahead of the game as far as live performing acoustic guitars designed for stage performances. But my two personal connections to Ovations, like in my memories and nostalgia, is one, senior year of high school. I was obsessed with all the 90s jam bands coming out. What'd I do? Specifically Blues Traveler. Brian was there. Brian and I grew up together. So the band Blues Traveler, we went to see them in high school in a concert. And when they broke out the like acoustic version of The Night, John Popper had a 12-string Ovation. Do you remember that at all, Brian?
Yeah, I also think they were really popular. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like 80s, they had become a thing. 90s, they were definitely still, early 90s, still going around. So I definitely remember that very, very well. And then the other one is Cat Stevens. He has this amazing concert movie that didn't come out till, I think, the 90s. It was like one of those shelved concerts. But he used, and then there's also some great 70s footage, late 70s footage of Cat Stevens on like BBC TV and stuff like that. And he's playing an Ovation and some stuff. So once again, it was designed for stage guitar. That's my connection to Ovations. The other guitar companies have really caught up to that. So I would much rather get a Gibson acoustic with the electronics on it. Like a J45. It's just so solid. All right.
Guys and Ben wants to know if do you ever have dreams where you're playing guitar?
Do I ever have dreams where I'm playing guitar? I don't think. Okay, guitar are in my dreams, but I can't think of actually playing the guitar in my dreams. The dreams I have with guitar, a reoccurring dream with the guitar and just musician stuff in general is that my guitars are missing. I left a guitar behind. It's still at the venue, and I'm trying to get back into the venue, and I can't get back in to get my guitar. Or I left it outside. Like, it's always guitars are missing or left behind. And the gig is coming up, and I don't have the guitar. So it's definitely more of a being in classroom, being in class in high school, and not being prepared, or like being in your underwear or something like that. Glenn Campbell played in Ovation. Yeah, there was a time when Ovations were blowing up. All right, few shout outs. Kaizen Ben, Rockstar Coder. Nice names. Don Stidham, Roger Spencer, Tucker Lincoln, Travis Burnett, Mark Davis, who's the Blue Ridge Parkway in Western North Carolina. Skillet 800, Irene Popa, Mark Davis. He's accepting donations for more guitars. John Whitehurst. Hey, John Whitehurst. Irene, thank you. BSFC, hello. All right, so thanks again, you guys. We're going to get out of here. It's lunchtime. Well, it's past lunchtime, actually.
Josh Norco was 20 minutes late.
Josh Norco
Where are you, Josh?
Josh Norco was 20 minutes late. I appreciate